Well, welcome to AM Quincy. This time we're here to talk about the Quincy Democratic City Committee's 34th annual breakfast. This is coming up Sunday, October 23rd, 10 to noon, the Sons of Italy Hall here in Quincy. So joining us, Alicia Gardner, and also Norfolk County District Attorney Mike Morrissey has stopped on by because he's the MC of the event. So welcome to both of you. Thanks for coming over.
Great
Thank
to be
you
here.
for having us.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Alicia, always a pleasure.
Same here, Joe.
So, and we
Same
will
here.
see you on election night as well.
Look forward to it.
Or some chat about the Democratic Committee. But before we do that, let's talk right now about the committee here in Quincy. You are the
Sure.
chair of the citywide.
Correct.
So, but this is the
Correct.
Quincy Democratic City Committee.
Correct.
Okay.
Which is made up of members from each of the 6 wards
Gotcha.
in the city of Quincy.
Okay.
Each ward also has a chair and officers. And then we have a citywide officers across the board. And so I help facilitate a lot of the larger events that are done by the whole and not the individual ward committees. The members, there's a total of 35 members. We're always looking for new members. Please join us. We're an active group. We meet the second Tuesday of every month. We had been doing that by Zoom, like there are all of us, but we did go back live, and NAGE is very graciously allows us to use their facilities for our meetings. So we meet, as I say, the second Tuesday of the month at 6:30, and if you're interested, please go to our website, Quincy Dems, or our Facebook page, Quincy Dems, and you can learn more about us and ask
Next year,
questions.
The presidential primary. There is a section on the presidential ballot that will allow the Republicans and the Democrats, and if there's another party, to choose members, elected members of the so-called ward committee.
Oh, okay.
But we don't restrict the membership. Like someone like myself, I had been an elected member for a good number of years, and over 20 years, and I think Alicia probably falls into it, that we're life members. So we are still active members of the committee, and we may not appear on the ballot. And even if you're not elected in next March in the presidential primary, you can still be a member of a ward and the city committee. So we don't, we even have associate members, and when positions are up. So it's pretty loose as far as we just want to
Right.
bring people in, and if they'd like to be active in a party, I think there's still no excuse for a good campaign to have a good ground game and grassroots, and this can facilitate that.
Okay, so you could be a member of both the citywide and a ward party at the same
Well,
time?
you become a member through your individual ward
Oh,
committee, and
okay.
that is obviously based on where you live in the city, what ward you're in. And as Michael said, we don't want to discourage anybody from not participating because they're not a member. As he said, you can be an associate member
Okay.
and still be very actively involved
Okay.
with us.
And even going to the conventions,
Right.
Alicia and the ward committee chairman may facilitate the selection of delegates to Democratic elected delegates to go to the state convention. You don't have to be a member of the city or the ward committee. Sometimes it helps because the ward committee is a good base to start running from. If they see you
Okay,
active in the ward
sure.
committee, they're more apt to vote for you to send to the state convention. But any Democrat can also come and run at the open caucuses. But I think we pay some deference to people who have been identified as active Democrats and have been active in the ward and the city committee.
Yeah. Is there a cost to be a member?
There is not.
No cost.
Now, some of the ward committees charge a small dues,
Okay.
$10.
No, they don't.
Not anymore. We used to pay dues.
Here's how it used
Mike
to
paid
run.
his dues.
Mike has always paid his
Well,
dues,
no, Alicia takes
absolutely,
it out.
in more ways than one.
Alicia takes it out on us on the breakfast.
right.
It is also a fundraiser, and people do help support
Yeah.
the
Okay.
activities through the.
Well, to Michael's point, in all fairness to him, yes, there was a voluntary dues.
Oh,
It's
okay.
strictly voluntary. But that has ceased to exist because of COVID.
Oh, really?
So we haven't been requesting the voluntary
just up
due
until
membership.
recently then, okay.
Up until recently, I think it was like $20 a year.
All right.
But it's all very voluntary. You cannot
They never
require
told me
it.
that. Yeah, they always said,
Don't tell
they said
me.
you got to pay your
You can
dues.
keep
Yeah.
I just want to clarify, you mentioned the NAGE, I know what it is, but for folks who don't, the NAGE building on the Bergen Parkway, right across from the MBTA station.
That is correct.
Okay.
The National Association of Government Employees.
Right,
And as you say, they're located right on Bergen Parkway. They've been there for years. And yes, they allow us to use their meeting room
Okay.
and have
On the first
been
floor.
so on the first
Yeah.
floor for like 5 years. It's handicapped accessible.
Yep.
It's transportation accessible. It's right there by
Yep.
the Quincy T station.
Second
And-
Tuesday of every month.
And the second Tuesday of every month.
Okay. So let's talk about the breakfast. Speaking of being pandemic impacted, you haven't been able to do this for a couple of years, Alicia.
That is correct.
Yeah.
I will say, through the generosity of QATV, we were able to go live on a Sunday, via tape for our last
day,
2 years. So this year we're back. We're
Yeah.
back in person, and we're thrilled to be back. And I think people are probably going to be anxious to come because they haven't seen each other for a long time. And I believe we have a great morning of speakers for them to all look forward to.
Well, right behind you, of course, is candidate for Governor Maura Healey. Will Maura Healey be at the breakfast?
Right. Unfortunately, Mara cannot be there that
Okay.
morning.
But we have the second best thing.
That is correct. Who is our Lieutenant Governor nominee, who is Kim Driscoll, the Mayor of Salem. She will be there. Our candidate for Attorney General, Andrea Campbell, will be there. State Auditor candidate Diana DeZoglio, she's a state senator. We are also going to have our current and
Two current constitutional officers are coming.
they are
Suzanne.
Suzanne Bump, who is our state auditor.
Outgoing state auditor.
Outgoing
yeah.
state
Yeah,
auditor.
yeah. Former Braintree selectman years ago.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And she has been such a great supporter of us over the years. We really wanted her to come, and we're going to honor her this
Oh,
year
very
at
nice.
our breakfast for all of her years of service.
Okay.
And Deb Goldberg.
And
the-
our state
treasurer.
treasurer, Deb Goldberg, will also be there.
Unopposed this year.
Unopposed.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a great morning.
Okay, all right. And kind of, if you could run down the format of what folks can expect.
Well, that's Alicia's yelling at me. I'll try to keep it. The goal is to get in and out in 2 hours.
Okay.
And give people some visibility
Yeah.
that they may not have seen live and in person. So there's a little bit of glad handing and interpersonal. There's some campaign literature that's spread out, and the candidates will all be given a short period of time to make the case. Now the case they're making is kind of to the, they're already
Preaching to
converted.
the choir,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So. But I think it's also a chance to see them live too, and
Correct.
we'll get a little TV as well, with the help of Quincy Cable and some visibility. And we also get to every year we look for a Democrat who has kind of a lifetime achievement of support of the Democratic Party. Alicia's parents and have been.
yourself?
Yeah, I've been a nominee. So people who spent a long time in the
A
fields,
recipient.
yeah, doing the legwork, and
Yeah.
so we try to single out a persons or organization that has been most helpful to the goals of the Democratic Party. And this year we have someone I used to say from our end of the city, but Alicia has since moved down. She's down in Ward 2, and
That's
so
right.
she's moved out of Ward 6. But
Point girl
we
now.
have someone from Ward 6, and he's a former chairman, Kevin Carter, that is going to be our person of the year, and he's just a wonderful person.
It's the Dennis F. Ryan Community Award, right?
Yes.
So what is the history of the award, Mike?
Well, for those of you that are old enough to remember, Dennis Ryan was the clerk of the Quincy District Court.
Oh.
In the old days, when it used to be where the bargain center used to be,
Sure.
where President's Place is, the courthouse was located there. And Dennis was really a fixture in that courthouse, but also in the community. That when the Republicans had kind of controlled things back in the first Democratic elected Speaker of the Massachusetts House was Tip O'Neill in the late 40s, and there was more of a balance at that point. And now in the 50s and 60s, you saw people like John Gillis and Jim McIntyre that were active in the Democratic Party to bring it along. Dennis Ryan was one of those early activists.
Okay.
And
Dick
so,
Koch.
Yeah, Dick Koch, yeah. So they were early on activists, and so I mean the courthouse, the street in front of the courthouse is Dennis Ryan Parkway.
That's right, yeah.
So Dennis was from the old times before us, had thought that Dennis was an appropriate person to name the award after. George Burke and
Oh,
others
his
who
hard work.
were out there early on. I mean, I don't think Dennis ever held office, other than he was the clerk for a good many years.
Okay.
But I know that he was active and supported a lot of good Democrats over the years, and so the award has continued to maintain his name, and the committee that the kind of the executive committee of the city committee, and others submit, get nominations, and they try to pick someone who they think really represents that. And this year, Kevin Carter had been up through the ranks on labor. He is a union plumber, and his wife married a North Quincy girl, and he lives down by the Parker School, and he became really the business manager of Local 12, which is the Boston Plumbers Local.
Oh.
And he really helped modernize the local, make sure that that even he was active in the legislature. I used to be on the Public Safety Committee and on the Consumer Protection Committee, and Kevin was always active in the health and safety and plumbing codes to make sure that we were all protected from germs and viruses, and also make sure that his workers could work safely. And there's no longer, you don't find a lot of lead and things like that anymore.
Right.
A lot of it is now all mechanical and crimping. So Kevin was, as things had to change, Kevin was always at the forefront to protect his workers, and always has been a good long Democrat. That he has been very supportive of a lot of us locally and statewide candidates and national candidates. And he, when he kind of went into retirement, he, I think, wanted to stay a little busy. Became the chairman of the ward committee, and he recently gave it up. He has some home issues that he's dealing with some family health issues, and he's just a committed individual. When that he obviously has his priorities straightened out with his family, but
Sure.
he's always been
Always
committed.
there.
Yeah, always been committed to helping Democrats,
Okay.
and we think this is a really worthwhile person to honor this year.
Nice, nice. Now, will the chairs of all the ward committees be at the breakfast?
They should be. They better have a good excuse why they're not.
Okay. Who's the current chair of the Ward 6 committee? Just curious.
Dan, right?
It was Dan Hacker.
Oh, okay.
He's a great guy too, but unfortunately Dan can't be there
Oh.
because he's traveling. He's in Spain.
Oh, no kidding.
That's a good excuse.
Okay,
That's a
good
good
excuse.
that I let slide.
All right. So there is
That's
no
why that's
remote
like-
option for this. This is in
There's
person
not
only.
this year.
Okay. All right.
But no, I say that tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
If there's each ward committee has a number of offices, so there's always, if someone wanted to come and pay at the door, they're more than welcome. And
They do.
we can introduce them to
Yeah.
people from the ward if they want to meet them. And
Right.
people generally sit all over the place. There's ward tables, and there's individual tables, and there's
Okay.
open tables, and there's union tables, and there's politicians have different tables. So
Yeah.
it's pretty it's pretty free and open, and generally it's mostly all speaking program, and just give people that a snippet of hi, I'm here, what I've done. I think we have a strong ticket in Maura Healy and Kim Driscoll, and Maura has proven herself as Attorney General. I know on the opioid issue, which I've worked closely with it, she truly is a leader, and I think we're lucky to have Maura may not have had the local experience in elected office, but we have a mayor. And
Kim
so,
Driscoll, right? Yeah.
and I know she's worked closely with like Tommy Koch and other mayors, statewide issues, and so you have a good balance of someone who's elected statewide and someone who is on the municipal level.
Yeah, I think she's been a mayor almost as long as Mayor Koch has been. Actually.
Yeah, it's probably more than a dozen years.
Yeah.
And a lawyer, smart, and her nice. You'll hear about her background and upbringing, which is kind of interesting how she got here to Massachusetts. And
She's been campaigning in Quincy quite a bit, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen
and-
her around. Yeah.
Well, I think the ticket served Charlie Baker well. Charlie, of course, had been a selectman in Swampscott. Not that we
Swampscott.
like to, talk about the Republicans, but Karen Polito had also had some local and legislative experience.
in
And Charlie,
Shrewsbury, I think.
right,
Yeah.
and Charlie had been Secretary of Administration and Finance. So we have a ticket, I think, that is equally, beneficial
Right.
of having a wide range of
Yeah,
experience. And
yeah. So is this something that's is open to the public? Or
Sure.
It is.
Absolutely,
Really?
it is.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd be more than welcome. It's their opportunity to come and hear from the candidates.
All right.
It's only 2 weeks from Sunday,
Yeah, well,
right?
yeah, the city-
I believe it's almost 2 weeks.
The
So
city has ballots right now. They've all been delivered statewide, according to my friend, the Secretary of State, that everybody has them. Quincy was a little slow getting their ballots, I guess, because we also have to deal with multi-language issues.
True.
So,
Yep.
but the Nikki Crispo, the clerk, and the team in the clerk's office are awesome people. We in the city run a terrific election, and I think my friend, by his primary vote, Bill Galvin, got beat his opponent 70-30. He's probably we run the best elections in the country, and so starting this Saturday. We have you can ask an absentee ballot right now.
That's
but
right.
But if you wanted to come and vote early, We have approximately, 8 or 9 days of early voting, and it starts the weekend at the clerk's office.
Right.
It's the 22nd
Yeah.
to November 4th, which is a Friday.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
so they're going the first weekend, actually, is they're going at, they used to use the high schools, I don't want to confuse people, but I think there's testing for SATs and stuff. There's a lot of activity at the high school. So this weekend coming up is going to be at City Hall,
Right.
8:30 to 2:30 for Saturday, Sunday. And then during the week, the clerk's office sets up a polling place in City Hall. So the regular hours of 8:30 to 4:30, you can walk in, and the last weekend, you can go to North Quincy High School.
Right.
Then, so we don't want to confuse people. just
That's
to-
right. Yeah.
To let them
Right.
know that you can also make a request in Massachusetts. My friends in the legislature, Speaker Mariano, Bruce Ayers, Tacky, have been John Keenan instrumental in making it easier for people to vote. And you can go on, I think there's a votema.com, go to the Secretary of State's website,
Yep.
go to the City Clerk's website.
Yep.
Nikki Crispo reminds me that if you send a email to her, if you send a fax to her, if you send a letter, a postcard to her, she will make sure that you get a ballot if that's your intention, that you wanted to, vote by mail. She'll
Yes.
make sure you get a ballot. But that
Yes.
also, there's a cutoff, I think, which I think is around November 1st. I think that you have to.
She told me it was the 4th, but
Yeah.
regardless.
Correct, I just
Yeah.
know it is the 4th.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the first sounds better to scare everybody because
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
want anybody to miss it. But
Well, you have to keep in mind that it has to be back at the city clerk's office by 8 p.m. on November 8th.
Correct, so,
So-
it does say right on the information on the last day to be able to request one. Give the post office 7 days
Yeah.
if you're going to be putting it back in the mail.
Right. Otherwise,
And
there is a
on a-
ballot
so-
drop box right outside City Hall.
Correct.
yeah, and that's something that we're cautious about too. The Secretary of State has made sure that he just doesn't want drop boxes all over the
That's right.
community.
Yep.
It's supervised. It's here. It's emptied every day. It's overseen by the workers in the election department. So it's in a secure location, and so it's almost it's down to the point that there's no excuse not to vote. And obviously, we're Democrats, and we'd like to see more people vote Democratic, but we want everybody to vote. And this is important. And our elections are secure. They're free. They're fair. We've had no allegations of any wrongdoings and misconduct. And it's unfortunate that some people, even in this country, undermine the election process, which is truly at the heart of democracy. And we've never had the problems. Now, I have been to Florida and worked in the Kerry campaign for president when they were handing out leaflets that tell people vote on Wednesday. They were targeting certain neighborhoods
Yep.
and then telling them to vote the day after election. So
Yep.
I'm not going to tell you that there haven't been games over the years played. But I've never seen, particularly in this state, I trust the voting process, and I hope people have that much confidence. I know that we have a ton of confidence here, and I just hope it's true throughout the country.
Yeah. There are 4 ballot questions on the November 8th ballot as well that I think probably will draw some interest and maybe.
That could drive the vote.
Yeah.
You have question 1, the millionaire's tax.
Right.
Question 2 is
The dental,
the-
question 3 is furthering alcoholic beverage
yes.
licenses,
and
and 4 is regarding the
Undocumented driver's license.
undocumented
Right.
driver's
Right.
license, which got put on the ballot. It was passed by the legislature,
Right.
but there was a petition drive, and
so that's
that
so
will now be on the ballot.
Right. So they all may have various pockets of interest, and we hope that you'll vote for candidates, but we also want you to pay attention to the questions.
Absolutely. About how many folks do you expect at the breakfast? Any idea?
Well, with this being the first time back in
Yeah.
a couple of years, I'm hoping we have a good 125
Okay.
that will come and join us that morning.
Okay.
Sounds like another beautiful weekend. So Sunday morning, and as Michael mentioned earlier, I am extremely conscious and that this is a 2-hour breakfast from beginning to end, because I recognize people either want to, the Pats aren't on till Monday this year, so we don't have to deal with that.
but we're
God
still
bless
very.
Archie Wahlberg. He would base when we would have our breakfast on when the Pats were playing.
Of course.
But it's something that we know people given the hectic schedule that people have, both young and old,
Yeah.
and sometimes Sunday, even be a day of worship for some people
Yep.
as well, and we try to be respectful of the fact that they have other things to do, and we only ask them to gather once a year, and we're hoping that they take advantage of it when we have live candidates, and it's fun to get together and talk a little bit about politics.
What's for breakfast?
Oh.
The usual.
You know, and I, in all fairness, I have an events coordinator, and her name is Nancy DeLisle. She happens to also be my daughter.
That's right,
And
we'll
it
take
would
it out
be
of the two of them
unfair
if
not
it's,
to recognize her efforts through all of this. And there is a committee that puts this together as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
And
And we have a
they
caterer.
do
We're
a-
not cooking. We have a caterer.
Okay.
We have a
So,
caterer,
yeah.
and so she knows the name of the caterer. I do not.
That's fine.
But
Okay.
it's a wonderful breakfast. It really is.
Yeah.
The tickets are $35 a person.
Okay.
We do fundraise.
Yep.
This is a fundraiser for us, and it is our biggest one of the year.
That is okay.
And
Since
it's
we don't
actually
have
been
dues
the
now.
That's
only
right.
one. What?
Since we don't have dues now.
That's
Since
right.
we don't have dues now.
And tickets at the door too, right?
Absolutely,
Okay.
tickets at the door.
Okay.
Happy to have you. It's going to be, I think, a great morning. We're excited that we can meet in person again.
Great. All right. Anything else we should
Great
let folks
event.
know about right now?
Just remember to vote. Yeah,
Just
there's no
remember to vote.
there's no
Please.
excuse.
That's right. All right.
Right.
Thank you both. Really appreciate
Right.
it.
Thank you for having us,
And
Joe.
Election Day,
Really
November
appreciate
8th.
it.
Remember, that's where we just Tuesday, November 8th.
That's right.
Is Election Day. If you want to come in person, we'd love to have people show up Election Day too. So.
All right.
Yeah.
We'd
And
invite folks.
I just can't wait to have Michael be my master of
Oh
ceremonies
yeah, sure.
this
Because
year.
she's gonna yell at me. She'll be kicking me to
This
move
is a
along.
new concept that I've come up with because I think, okay, it's Alicia again, big deal, blah, blah, blah. So I thought I'll ask Michael. And I think it's going to be an interesting morning
This will
between
probably be one
the
and
two of
done.
us.
Yeah, this will be,
Yeah, this
be the last time.
You can't already
Also the
tell.
first.
Well, have fun either way.
We're going to have fun.
All
We'll
right.
have a lot of fun that
All
morning.
right. Thanks
Thank
again.
you.
You're
All right.
welcome. Again, it is the Quincy Democratic City Committee's 34th annual breakfast, Sunday, October 23rd, 10 a.m. to noon at the Quincy Sons of Italy. QuincyDems.com is the website to go to get all the information. For all of us here at Quincy Access Television, I'm Joe Catalano. Thanks for watching. See you next time.